Hello viewers, good morning to all. Welcome to the new session of e-learning class. I am Rasmi Ranjan Mishra, lecturer of Department of BBA, UN Autonomous College of Science and Technology. Today we are going to discuss relating to entrepreneurship and small business management. So on today's discussion we will be discussed relating to entrepreneurial development and entrepreneurship training. So listen carefully, we will discuss everything one by one. Entrepreneurial environment. Entrepreneurship environment refers to the various factors within which enterprise, big, medium or small, and others have to be operate. So generally environment refers to the surroundings where the living beings exist. So there are various factors that affect to the environment, and entrepreneurship environment or entrepreneurial environment means the various factors within which the enterprise, whether may be a small or big or medium enterprise, they have to operate their activities. The environment therefore influence the enterprise. As the entrepreneur operate their activities within the environment, so the environment basically influence the enterprise. By and large, an environment created by political, social, economical, national and legal forces, and also it influence the entrepreneurship. So there are various factors or various factors relating to political or social or economical or legal forces that influence the entrepreneurship. So for that, entrepreneurial environment is broadly classified into 6 important segments, namely political environment, second economic environment, the third one is social environment, fourth technological environment, then fifth legal environment, and sixth one is cultural environment. So there are 6 entrepreneurial environment within which entrepreneurship operate their activities, or the various factors that affect within the enterprise belongs to the 6 entrepreneurial environment. So we will discuss everything or all the entrepreneurial environment one by one. Let us come to the first environment, that is called as political environment. So what is that? Political environment affects the entrepreneurial growth and accelerate the process of economic activities. Different laws and orders that is of high priority that followed by government policies in regard to promotion of entrepreneurship, followed by incentive, encouragement and right institutional structure that will go a long way in fostering entrepreneurship. So as the name suggests, political means different laws and orders which is of a high priority, as well as different government policies regarding to promotion of entrepreneurship that is followed in political environment. So that affect the entrepreneurial growth, that means the various factors or the laws and rules and regulation or different government policies which affect the entrepreneurial growth and accelerate the process of economic activity that comes under the political environment. And for that there are various types of policies or the rules and the regulation when that is implemented, that is followed by different incentives, and also it provides encouragement, and there is also right institutional structure which will go on a long way for fostering the entrepreneurship or developing the entrepreneurship. Then the next part, that is economic environment. The entrepreneurial growth and development is also governed by economic environment. It encompasses a wide spectrum of items, namely availability of raw material, skilled labor, infrastructure, machinery, capital and so on. So economic environment basically covers the economic factors, that means whether the raw material available is better or not, whether there is skilled labor or not, and the infrastructure is good or not, the availability of machinery or other type of resources that comes under the economical environment. And the economical environment basically leads to the growth and development of entrepreneurship, as that covers with the various or wide spectrum of items relating to different types of resources, whether that is financial or non-financial resources. If there is any type of a problem arises in this type of resources, then in that case the entrepreneur cannot grow properly. So when there is a shortage of raw material, that can much adversely affect the entrepreneurial environment, and it has been affect also different industries. When there is a shortage of raw material, or the material is of inferior quality, or there is high price that result in high cost of production, so all are leading to bad impression relating to the entrepreneur or relating to the industry. The more favorable the economic condition of raw materials are, better would influence the entrepreneurial emergence. So if there is more availability of raw material, there is plenty availability of skilled and manpower, or there is good infrastructure, sufficient availability of capital, in that case that impact the better, or that will lead to favorable conditions and which influence the entrepreneurial emergence. So the role and importance of a market and marketing of goods also never underestimated. In case of economic environment, we also take into consideration the market or marketing aspect, and if we ignore that, in that case there is also give bad signal for entrepreneurial growth or development. So if that will be underestimated for the uprise of entrepreneurship, then that creates a bad impact. If the entrepreneur does not possess knowledge and various marketing techniques, he is unlikely to survive. So in order to survive in the market or to make growth and development of the industry, the entrepreneur must have to acquire knowledge relating to marketing or marketing techniques. The size and composition of a market influence entrepreneurship in the own way. So relating to entrepreneurial environment, we have to take into consideration the size as well as the composition of a market, or the various factors involved in the market relating to marketing of a goods or different marketing techniques that should be followed for entrepreneurial growth and development. The third environment, that is coming under social environment. So social environment that strongly affects the entrepreneurial behavior which contribute to the entrepreneurial growth. So the various social factors that relates to family background, relatives, friends, religion, social status, social mobility, social marginality will also we take into consideration for social environment, and that strongly affects for entrepreneurial behavior. So we have to discuss that what the social factors, how that affect entrepreneurial environment or entrepreneurial behavior. Family background greatly affects the entrepreneurial environment and maintenance of a social system. Joint family or nuclear family have their own benefits and disadvantages. Different types of families there. Maybe that is a case of a joint family, or maybe that is a case of a nuclear family. So whether types of a family that having several benefits as well as several disadvantages. There is more sentimental attachment of joint family as compared to nuclear family. If there is a case of a joint family, that means there is more attachment with each other, the family members. But in case of a nuclear family, that type of a benefit is not there. The environment of the family also influence the entrepreneurship. If the father is a professional or a businessman, or like the son is more likely to adopt the same occupation. So if we take into consideration that is a case of a joint family, then in that case, if the father is a professional or a successful entrepreneur, their relatives, that means the son or any others, they more likely to adopt that type of a profession because of that its inherent nature, or that is relating to their family background by virtue of his father being in the similar line. The son, they thinks that my father is a professional entrepreneur, and I also think to go ahead by adopting that similar type of a profession. So this is relating to family background. The reference also affect the environment. A person is likely to adopt the guidelines or rules of the reference group. In certain cases, some persons are there, they adopt the guidelines or the rules of the reference group in which they belongs. The prospective entrepreneur, they would discuss the ideas with them. So those are the successful entrepreneur or the prospective entrepreneur, they always discuss with their reference group relating to various ideas, or they always wants to seek their advice while starting the business. In order to start a new business or new ventures, they always contact with the reference group, and by collecting different skills, ideas or ability, they will implement that and make their business successful, or there is a case of a growth and development of their business activities. Social status has its own role to play. Every human being aspires a highly social status, and once he achieves a reasonable level, his aspiration and desires for it start getting multiplied. So when human beings or the entrepreneur, they want to start their entrepreneurial activities, they are having their own role to play in their business, and every human being having some aspiration, and they always think high social status, or once they achieve that to a reasonable level, their aspiration and their desires always go ahead, or that gets multiplied. People therefore become more quite responsible in the wake of protecting and developing their status. So those are the family members or the family background, or they are having the social status, they always think to develop their status accordingly, and they always wants to protect and develop their social status, become more quite responsible by fulfilling their aspiration and desires. Caste and religion of entrepreneur are the contributory factors of entrepreneurial growth. History reveals that entrepreneurial traits do not belong to a specific caste. Rather than entrepreneur emerge from varied communities. So there is no particular caste that they will go successful. Whether they may be relating to different caste or different religion, the entrepreneur emerge from varied communities. Social mobility, it is the movement of individual, family or household or other categories of people within or between different social strata in the society. So mobility means transfer or movement. When there is a case of a movement of individual or family or household peoples or other categories of people between different social strata, that is called as a social mobility. It is a change in social status relative to one's current location within a given society. So from one location to another location, the movement may be a downward movement, or that is a case of a upward direction. Social mobility in any change in social position can be also vertical, or that may be a horizontal nature. So any change in the physical position of a person or a group, that is called as a horizontal mobility. There is one example. If a bank manager is transferred from one branch to another, that is a case of a horizontal mobility. That means mobility means the transfer. The transfer of a bank manager from one branch to another, the bank remains same. Only the place or the change of a place from one location to another, that is called as the horizontal mobility. And that is, as the social status of the person is not changing, we can say that is a case of a horizontal mobility. Markers for social mobility such as education, class are also used to predict, discuss and learn more about an individual or group's mobility in the society. Social marginality, that is also another point relating to social environment that positively influence the entrepreneurship. A person belonging to social group traditionally constrained to enter into economic activity and barred from many other activities by the society is expected to choose the owner-manager role in a small industry. So the next part, that is relating to entrepreneurship training. In order to become successful in entrepreneurship activities, unless and until a person having no skill or knowledge or ability, then we cannot say that a person is a successful entrepreneur. So to become more successful in entrepreneurship activities, the entrepreneur must have to be skilled or must be talented, and that can be possible when entrepreneur makes or gets proper training relating to their area of activities. So that is called as a entrepreneurship training. So training means the systematic instruction to the staff at all levels in a new attitude or new skills. So that is a process or providing instruction to the new staff members as well as old staff members to develop their attitude or to acquire more knowledge and skill relating to higher field, that is called as a training. The term implies a scheme of instruction which is more or less formal and ongoing. So the training should be provided in a formal way, and that is an ongoing process. That means every time that should be provided to the peoples or to the employees or to the entrepreneur, whether they are the old employees or they become the new employees. But the ongoing process should be followed to acquire more and more knowledge relating to different fields or areas. And the training should be planned in a proper way, and that it should be a systematic, consistent and monitored to measure the effectiveness. So if the training is planned in proper way and a systematical way, and that should be monitored regularly, then there is a case of effectiveness of the training. Entrepreneurial Development Training Program is created to provide alternate route to gainful employment for economically disadvantaged individual through the establishment of their own business. So those are the weaker section of the people in our society, or those are economically challenged or disadvantaged individual. So for them, the alternate route for gaining employment skills or ability, the employment development training program is provided in today's scenario. So why that should be provided, or why there is a need of training the staff or train the staff? There are different reasons. The importance are advantages of standardization. If the training is provided in a formal way or in a systematic way and ongoing process, then that should be more standardized, and the entrepreneurs, they become more talented to gain more knowledge and implement their knowledge for future growth and development. Then another one is increasing organizational stability as well as flexibility. That is also another important point. Then the next one is heightened the morale. The morality is also increased. There is also a case of a reduced supervision and direction. No need to supervise the entrepreneur or the employees, or no need to provide any type of a further direction. Once they be more trained, then they will develop their knowledge and they will implement their knowledge in the areas. And another benefit is economical use of resources. So when the training is provided to the entrepreneurs, there is also a case of economical use of various resources. Then another benefit, that is increase in productivity. The next one is minimizing excessive scraps, wastage and defectives in production process. Better industrial relation also possible. There is also reduced accident at workplace, because the workers or the employees, they become more talented or more trained, and they will implement the methods or the procedures in their work activities. So there is also the chances of accident also reduced to certain extent, and a reduced learning time, because training is provided on ongoing process. So no need to learn more and more. A trained worker does not feel the need to join other factories. Once one employee becomes more trained, then that employee does not want to feel any type of a nervous or wants to join with the other factories, and that leads to reduce the labor turnover. Then the next is new technology can be adopted in the factory where trained employees are available. So when training is provided in ongoing process, then when the system changed or the technology changed, in that case the employees also more talented to handle the new technology as and when that is implemented. Why training is provided? What is the basic objectives before providing entrepreneurial development training program? The first one is to provide job related knowledge to the workers. Training is provided relating to the job workers, or those are providing their service. Relating to that, the knowledge is provided. Then the second one is to impart skills among the workers systematically, so that they learn more quickly. The third one is to bring about change in attitude of the workers towards the fellow workers, supervisor as well as organization. So there is a better relationship made by also acquiring the training. Training does not mean that it improve the knowledge of the workers. It also provide the morality among the environment. That means the change in attitude of the workers to their fellow workers or to their supervisors or to the organization or the department. Then the next objective is to improve the productivity of the workers and the organization. Then to reduce the number of accidents by providing safety training to the workers. To make the workers handle the materials, machine, equipment or other resources to minimize the wastage as well as time as well as the resource. To prepare workers for promotion to higher jobs by imparting them advanced skill. Then the next benefit or objectives, training should be of a reasonable long duration, so as to enable the workers to understand the theoretical aspect as well as the practical aspect to develop the skills for managing the job more accurately. Then the next objective, training should consist not only the theory, it should be supplemented by practical training. So in certain cases or in maximum cases, there is also practical training provided to the workers or to the new fellow members, those are joined in the organization, and that made interesting to all the participants. Then the next is to impart knowledge of the marketing of goods. So when training is provided, that should be designed in a proper way. There are three processes involved in designing the training program. The first one is setting training objectives. Why training should be provided? First, we have to set the objectives. That means to frame out the program on which the training should be provided. And also that includes various types of course content as well as the method. Training objectives are the statement which describe what the trainees will be able to do upon completion of the training, and once the entrepreneur clearly decided he wants to go, that will be reasonable to determine how to achieve the goal. So everything should be properly designed. After that, if the entrepreneur thinks that there is a need of providing training, or by providing training this is our objectives and that must be fulfilled, then that should be provided, otherwise not. The second one is developing the course content. Various course content methods of the material should be taken into consideration, and the skeletal framework of the course should be designed, and the contents that represents the flesh and the blood. It embodies the subject matter for learning points. Everything should be designed in a proper way. Then the next one is choosing appropriate training members. Those works in the organization for whom what type of a training should be provided, that should be designed. So appropriate training methods should be implemented after the course content developed. So the trainer implement the appropriate methods of a training to the trainees, and using that appropriate method, that can help the employee to develop the skill and knowledge of their assets or relating to their areas. So these are the various factors or the objectives as well as the design procedure for providing training methods. This is our today's discussion relating to entrepreneurial development, various aspects relating to entrepreneurial development, entrepreneurship training, the need and objectives or importance of training, and why the training should be provided, and in which way that should be provided, various methods taken into consideration at the time of designing a training program. So students, if you are having any doubt, then you can give your comment in the comment section. Thank you. Have a good day to all of you.